All right, welcome. It is another edition here of Bee's World, of course, with Beav himself, as it is a Monday evening, 6:11 here on the Coastal Sports Network, brought to you by Broad Street South and Sports Radio 102.9 from the game. As we always say, you can always text and call the show at 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650, or you can make your comments live here on the social medias, as you guys always do, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, LinkedIn, Nick, and if I didn't miss anything else, we're pretty much just everywhere under the sun. So thank you all for tuning in once again. A little bit of a late start. Obviously, we had a late start with Q, so a little bit late on here. But nonetheless, what first of all, a college weekend, but Beef, I hate to say it, but you guys are out there golfing with us on the links. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
hold on. The Mets just walked another batter. Yeah, yeah, not a fun experience. When when you see Edwin Diaz in the game in the fourth inning, that might be an indication things aren't going well. Yeah, it was. Give the credit to the Dodgers. I mean, their lineup is ridiculous. This is without Freddie Freeman. He's basically trying to play on one leg, and he's probably maybe their first or second best player when you consider he plays with Mookie Betts and Owatani. He's ridiculous. All three of those guys. Just a complete war of pitchers out, and I think this was the point where the Mets having to go through what they went through in the earlier rounds to make the playoffs and playing your Phillies. I think just caught up to him, and it was interesting that Senga was in the game at the end, and his injury really put a lot of tack on our pitchers. And I think that's kind of what happened. Sean's never pitched that much in his life. Quintana and Severino and David Peterson and McGill, those are all our starters. These guys all had to do a lot of great work, and the Dodgers wear people out, and the Yankees are about to learn that too because they're going to get their asses kicked. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, we were kind of in a reset year, and it's amazing the Dodgers got this far with all their pitching injuries themselves. A big part of them being here is the Detroit Tigers gift wrapping them Jack Flaherty. But it's kind of where they are, where you are. We'll be back. We're gonna have great ownership, and Mr. Cohen. They get about 170 million coming off the payroll. They're gonna probably give a lot of that to Pete Alonso, and add some pitchers, and maybe dip into Juan Soto just to either take him or make the Steinbrenners write a larger check.
They are. I mean, obviously, the being a very historic series between the Dodgers and obviously the Yankees, which my hermano that was on just before you, when I told him, what's this, like number 23? Listen, I'm not a Yankees fan. I don't care how many
Is that
championships.
many times they have played? They have played 23 times in the World Series.
They are now aiming for number 27 as far as for a World Series. And
No,
I
no, I'm talking about how many times the Yankees and Dodgers? They played like 11 times, right?
21, I believe.
21.
I believe. I believe that's what I saw this morning on the tube. I believe this is the 21st time
Just
they've
remember
met.
going back to the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. I'm trying to think of all the. I mean, the World Series the Yankees have won in my lifetime. They beat the Braves at least twice.
Beat the Phillies.
They beat my effing team once in 2000. Uh, they beat who else they beat in my life? Well, they beat the Dodgers a couple times. Let's see, they didn't win in the '80s. The '80s was a great time, Angel. Uh, my team won. Your team won, and the Yankees didn't win. The '80s are very underrated. The '90s. Let's see, they beat the Braves. They beat the Padres. I think they beat the Braves twice, actually. Yeah, they beat them twice. And I'm trying to remember who else they lost to. I'm trying to remember. No, they beat the Braves twice. They beat the Padres. And who else did they beat in the '90s? Mm. They beat the Padres with the best team they probably had. That was the '98 or '99 team when they had the Padres had Kevin Brown and Tony Gwynn hit like 380.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2000 they beat us, and that was the last one they won. And then they lost. they lost to the Marlins in '03, and then the Red Sox beat them in '04. Then I think then they win again in '06, the Yankees with A Rod.
I
No,
believe
the
so,
Yankees
yeah.
won in '09. Yeah, because the Cardinals won the World Series in '06. I think the last time the Yankees won was '09.
'09 against the Phillies.
So they've had the funny thing is, the amazing thing about this group of players is Soto's the guy who's won, and he's one of their younger, better players. I mean, Volpe's a kid. The catcher's a new guy. Stanton's been around, but he was a star from the beginning, and obviously Aaron Judge. And it's a completely different team than the core four guys: Pettit, Jeter, Rivera, and Posada back in the day. When Steinbrenner was in prison, and they were they let the team run itself, and they actually drafted and developed guys, including Jeter, um, and all this other stuff. So it's interesting to see. I'm not going to watch them into the World Series, so it's Bruins season now, Angel. And we got NFL in college, so I mean it is what it is. So when the Mets do something, I'll get it on my phone. I'll watch it. I could both these teams lose. I mean, I basically the Mets exist because the Dodgers and Giants were run out of town by the Yankees over financial stuff. Look that up. I'm not making it up. Uh, and you could fly the Taliban in here to play the Yankees. I'd have a turban on my head. It's and obviously, see, I was looking forward though to having the Yankees bring out Roger Clemens again to bring that shit up again, and then of course the Mets have to be suckered into bringing Piazza in. So that was who I would have had to deal with. And by the way, didn't one of the other World Series, didn't the Yankees beat the Phillies? Or was that '09?
No, that was '09. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yep.
I was so pissed about that. I hate it. The,
So
the
was I.
Cliff Lee Holiday team.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh
I,
yeah.
I love Cliff Lee. His whole career was changed by an old Michigan pitching coach, Ace Adams, who taught him his cutter when he was in the Expos farm system. And I've told you that I love Roy Halladay. I used to watch him pitch when he was in the minor leagues for the Blue Jays. And by the way, he's the guy. Derek Jeter says that's the toughest pitcher he faced, Roy Halladay. And by the way, Derek Jeter is funny on Fox,
That
and
was
it's
the
funny if you watch it because Ortiz is Ortiz. He's just
mhm.
David Ortiz. Alex Rodriguez tries to make everybody like him, so nobody likes him because he's just unlikable. And Jeter's just Jeter. Like the thing the other night with Poppy picking up Mrs. Met and Jeter walking off the stage is pretty funny. But and A Rod just he's just A Rod. He's just such a
Yeah,
dope.
I can't stand
But
him.
it's just he's so completely fake.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and I want to dislike Derek Jeter because I'm from Boston and I'm a Mets fan, and he destroyed the Mets. But he's cool. I've dealt with him a couple of times out here. He comes to a lot of Michigan games. He's a big Michigan fan. He's from Kalamazoo, and he's a good dude. It's funny as hell to watch him on TV because he's funny. He made the Taylor Swift joke last night on the air, which is pretty good. That's gone around, but it's my Mets had a great year. It was a great run. I was pissed the way the game was going. Every time I went to the bathroom, there was another home run or a walk. So it was. You can laugh, Angel. That was funny. But no, it was just ran out of gas. Too many good players. That team spent $1 billion on two players in the offseason. And it clearly helped because Yamamoto and Owatani are pretty good.
Yeah. Well, you forget. So well, two things. One was from the '09 World Series with the Yankees. It was obviously then Roy Halladay with Cliff Lee was he had the one pop up that came obviously from the batter, and he looked up just one time, put his glove out, and the ball just fell directly in his glove. And it was like the best thing ever. Like, all right, who's next? But of course, they went on to lose, which absolutely sucked. But then I want to know if would the fans minus obviously us who are not Yankees and or Dodgers fans, but for the fans that are not either or, would they prefer to see Otani win a World Series after trying to do it with the Angels versus the Yankees now winning their 27th title?
Well, I think Judge is a better player than Owatani. And he's a homegrown guy, and he could have left. Um, and he's a good dude. And Owatani's great. I mean, just look what he's done for New Balance. I was telling some of the girls at work the other day. I mean, his commercials are everywhere. New Balance is blowing up.
Mhm.
Um, but And don't forget, Otani's not pitching. When he pitches, it's difference. He's a DH. He's basically David Ortiz or Edgar Martinez right now. Now he's great. I mean, hold on. He just hit another home run against my Mets, but he's incredible. Um, but he hits. I mean, that's why Lindor should win the MVP. You take Lindor off the Mets, we win 70 games. You take Freddie Freeman off the Mets. I mean, not Freddie Freeman. You just did take Freddie Freeman off the Dodgers, and they beat us anyways. But you take Ohtani off the Yankees, not the Yankees, off the Dodgers, and Teoscar Hernandez is probably the DH, and they're still good because they'll put one of their other guys in left field or some other position. So it's not like, oh my God, the Dodgers are so bad. They added Ohtani, and now they're, instead of winning 100 games, they're going to win 110. And but again, he's a great investment for them. He's an incredible player. He's a good ambassador too. The whole bringing the Asian market into television and so forth. It's a business. People forget that. And it's cool for us. I mean, with our team, the OMG thing with the Glacius and all the Latin and Hispanic fans coming in and adopting our team. And we've always had a lot of good Hispanic players on the Mets. I mean, you kind of have to, going back to the 70s. But I mean, obviously, Johan Santana pitched our personal hitter and things like that. Carlos Beltran, Edgar Alfonso, Carlos Delgado, a lot of other guys. But it was interesting to see. But I think most people, well, nobody really roots for the Yankees. But if you're telling me the 27th championship for the Yankees, which I want to puke when I hear that, or Ohtani, I would say Ohtani. And it'll make me feel a little bit better because they beat us.
Mhm.
And the Yankees not winning would be great for America. It should be a national holiday. But again, will that make them sign Soto and say throw a big check at Pete Alonso? Because I don't know if you've noticed, the Yankees don't exactly have Lou Gehrig at first base, or Don Mattingly. And there's a first baseman who's out there who's had pretty good success playing in New York. Who's pretty good. And if you don't think that Steinbrenner is sitting there and going, you know what, if I sign Pete Alonso, that would make the Mets and Cohen look pretty bad. And then Steve Cohen's probably saying, well, if you do that, I'll probably give $800 million to Soto and a couple of the other guys. So that it can play both ways because, people aren't aware of this. Cohen has more money than Steinbrenner. And it's not really close. The Steinbrenners are old school owners who have bought the team in the 70s. Now they still make the money with the TV deal and so forth. But his money is from the baseball team. Steve Cohen's money is from the real world. And this is a side project, passion play for him, even though he quit his day job to come run the Mets now.
Mhm.
But Steve Cohen, I mean, if you saw this, he's spending, I think, $8 billion on the development around Citi Field. I mean, $8 billion. And the Tigers can't figure out a way to get rid of Javi Baez. So it's like, kind of what it is. But it's amazing. But I'm telling you this right now. The Yankees have no idea what they're about to face offensively from going from the, Punch and Judy Royals and the Cleveland Monarchs, wherever the hell Guardians, excuse me, yeah, Guardians, right? With the old Indians. There's literally like two hitters on each of those teams. The Dodgers have guys on their bench better than everybody except one guy on both those teams, Jose Ramirez and Bobby Witt Jr. Other than that, the Dodgers there's none of those guys who even be on the lineup or the bench for the Dodgers. They have players everywhere, and this was with Freddie Freeman hurt. I mean, they have dudes everywhere. I mean, that center fielder who kept hitting home runs off us is like he's like the fourth guy. Kiki Hernandez, who becomes friggin' Babe Ruth in the postseason, just hit another bomb off us. It's just they have dudes everywhere, and the Yankees pitching staff they have trouble getting the Indians guys out, and they have no idea what they're about to face. That Soriano guy who hit the home run, the Dodgers got about 9 guys like that.
That they do, but to me, I mean, I listen. My sister's a Yankees fan. Don't know why. We're both born and raised in Philly. We're
Nice to know,
still,
Angel. You're the smart person in the family. I'm proud of you, buddy. Good job.
yeah, because I can't stand the stinking Yankees. But
How's she a Yankees fan?
who, me?
No, how's your sister a Yankees fan? Where's she from?
All right. So we're both born and raised in Philly. She moved to New England. We moved. So I
Wait,
moved.
it's getting worse, but continue. Go.
Yeah. So I moved in 85, graduated in 88. My sister came up in 86, 87. Um,
when Don Mattingly and Winfield and Ricky Henderson were playing.
yeah. So all of a sudden, she went from being a Phillies fan. She claimed to me that she's been a Yankees fan like all her life. I'm like, yeah, it's news to me because you were all about Philly when we were there. She was obviously a New England fan. Go figure because they won 6 rings. So she was that, and then she was congratulating me that the year the Eagles won, obviously the Super Bowl championship. Yeah. So then I called her ring chaser. I love her to death, but it's exactly what it was. So, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Um, no, but I can't. First of all, I can't stand A Rod. He's just a
I know.
moron. I can't.
He's such
Yeah,
a fraud. Nobody likes him.
no, I can't stand him. And
He's so
I'm
bad
glad
on
that
TV.
his
So bad on TV.
yeah
And it gets worse because Jeter and Ortiz are awesome, and he just tries to be fake. It's because Ortiz is naturally funny and he's entertaining, and Jeter's Jeter. So there's no really room for A Rod. It's just like it's nothing like these Sunday NFL shows like the one with Strahan and Jimmy Johnson and Howie and Gronk's on there now. And that show's awesome because they all have their kind of spot in what they do, and they're all themselves. And A Rod just comes off as so fake. He wants to be everybody's buddy, and he's
yeah.
just so bad.
Nah, he's the worst. I can't stand him. But and you're putting two different. You have one that has absolute class with Derek Jeter, and the other
Yes.
one is an absolute bum because
Have you noticed the other thing? What A Rod calls? He calls Jeter Jeter.
yeah,
I think that's weird.
yeah.
And Jeter lets him do it.
That's
So it's like,
probably because he's probably he probably did it when they played at the old Yankee
I
Stadium
know,
together. So
I know, but it's I mean, or I don't know. I don't know what. Um, I never really looked into that. What do the Yankees players call Jeter? Do they call him Derek or DJ or two or whatever?
nice.
Because I'm best buddies with a guy who's on Jeter's level, and people call him TB or Tommy or 12. I mean, all of Tommy's close friends call him Tommy. But a lot of his teammates call him TB or 12 or whatever. And that was one of the funny things when the Buccaneers went there. He went to the Buccaneers and the players. I mean, Tom would go introduce himself to everybody, including like the janitors, and they didn't know what to do. It was like, call me Tom, or you know, the guys who were star players like Mike Evans and guys like that. They all have their nicknames and stuff with him. And he did the game a couple weeks ago. But you know, it's just interesting to see. I just was stunned that A Rod called him Jeter. I was like, wow. And obviously, I watched the Mets games during Ron Darling and Keith Hernandez. And everybody calls Keith. And his nickname is Max. You can figure out why. And a lot of the guys, Keith, and they call Ronnie RJ, Ronnie James Darling, RJ. So, and that's what Keith calls him RJ. So, and other, like when Red Sox, when Jerry Rem is live, he's the Rem dog, things like that. And I haven't watched the Yankees enough because I have an IQ above 3. What do they call David Cohn, Paul O'Neill, and what do they all go by their names? What do they do on the broadcast?
It's a good question. Not a freaking clue.
Oh,
But
ask good questions, Angel.
yeah, it is.
You and I, when we have really low standards at a weak moment, we'll have to watch a Yankees Yes broadcast.
No,
Make sure there's no weapons or guns around us when we do it, and
no.
try to watch it. Maybe we can mute Susan Waldman and their other broadcasters who it's insufferable. It makes me want to light myself on fire and douse myself in gasoline. I mean, it's just I can't. And the other thing is Susan Waldman's a Massachusetts girl. She's a traitor. But it's just worse. I mean, I just can't
I
stomach
can't.
this. I'm changing. I think the Dodgers are going to win anyways, but I can't handle the Yankees not winning.
No, I think it will
Yeah, I
as
can't
well.
handle the Yankees winning, particularly after the year the Mets just had.
I think the Dodgers definitely end up winning it, but I can't stand it. Supposedly, the other broadcaster, he's again supposed a really nice gentleman, but I can't sit his home run calls. Oh my! They just an A bomb from A Rod and
Oh yeah,
just stop
Coach
it.
Jones. Yeah, I know. I know.
I can't freaking stand it. It's the one thing like you couldn't pay me to watch a stinking Yankees game. You just or a broadcast. I could because it's the World Series and I love baseball. It's a whole different story. And at least I won't have to put up with the Yankee broadcasters. But there's no way in the world I could sit through an entire game with all of them just the nuances and the dumb stuff that he says with the home run calls and
Yeah.
I can't. I can't stand the organization. Maybe they've gotten a little better since obviously, Steinbrenner's been gone, God bless. But you bought championship after championship after championship. People can say whatever they want to. You bought them and they got you nowhere. So now this is your first one, first attempt since 2009 to be able to do it again. But I can't. I just nope. I can't with that nonsense. But kind of switching gears here for a moment, as going into the college world of football, not baseball, obviously. When you have, how about Michigan other than losing to Illinois, but the throwback helmet, which was extremely unique, the way they did it. And they also mentioned it took 2 hours per helmet to design and make sure that it was sanctioned by the NCAA, that it met all the safety requirements. But that was a good look. I will admit that was a good look.
For you're referencing Illinois, the Red Grange stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, people don't understand in the history of college football in the Big Ten with the Illinois, Red Grange, Dick Butkus. They've had some historic people there, obviously. They view us as a huge rivalry. Michigan kind of Mickey Mouses around it. And, I lost to them once when I was here. I was here from the 93 through 98 season. We lost to them my first year in 93 and then never lost to them again. Tommy's senior season, 99, they lost to him here at home. I believe it was a homecoming game. They had a big lead and they blew the game. Every time we lose to them, it's usually an historic season. We won a game when Rich Rod was here. We beat them like 65 to 62 in like 3 overtimes. And so it's a big game for them. It's a big rivalry for them. And I think Coach Billum has done a good job there. They get a nice team. They beat us pretty bad, and we are a mess right now. And I don't know what to make of what's happening with our team. We get good kids. The coaches are good people. They're working hard. It's just the results aren't happening. Maybe my comparison of the LSU team with Burrow and all those guys graduating. I think LSU was 500 next year is a good comp, but we got to right the ship because nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We got a lot of big games coming, big opponents, including the Clowns coming here Saturday. And we've got to figure out right the ship because nobody's going to feel sorry for us, and everybody that plays want to kick our ass because of the natty and all the scandal and all the other bullshit that went on here the last couple of years. And we always a big target, anyways. Every one of our teams, we're always red letter game for our opponents, even with the new teams. We have history with UCLA and USC and Washington, and obviously the Ducks. So there's going to be, we gotta figure it out, or we're going to have a lot more L's than what we got now, and we got 3, and that's not good.
Nope, it's not. And I thought for Michigan, barring all the stuff that happened last season, sanctions, blah blah blah, the cheating, sign stealing, blah blah. I
Yep.
figured maybe this year it'd be a kind of a
You
little bit
forgot the
of
15 guys of the NFL. You forgot that small part, but continue. Go ahead.
yeah. No, he did
Including our quarterback, who was a top 10 pick.
yeah. No,
I
but
don't think there's been very many top 10 quarterback picks in the Big Ten, at least recently.
I just thought it was going to be in a much different season compared to. I mean, it wasn't like they were left off with bad hands. I mean, come on, Harbaugh did a pretty good job as far as saying, here's the keys to the kingdom. Now you take over and figure out what you can end up doing with it, but not so much. And I really had high expectations at the beginning of the season. But what has not gone the right way that Michigan fans thought was going to happen?
Well, I mean, I talked to a lot of different people about this, and Kathy, my business partner, and I were talking about this the other day. I think when you look at a couple things, we had an unusual team here the last 3 years with all the COVID guys staying, and NIL and the portal hadn't really become what it is now. You're able to keep the offensive line guys, the 2 guards, One of them broke his leg in the Ohio State game, started it for 3 and 4 years. JJ was here, started for about 2.5 years. He and Cade McNamara played split the time in 21. Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson started 3 and 4 years. Chris Jenkins and Junior Colson, a lot of the defensive guys, started here for 3 years. And all these guys played, and they didn't lose a lot of games. I mean, they lost like 3 games in 3 years. And one of them was that great Georgia team. The other game was at Michigan State with Kenneth Walker, and he just went crazy. He's probably the best running back in our league since Saquon Barkley. And then the inexcusable, embarrassing, and disgusting TCU game, where he probably cost himself a chance to play for the national championship because we didn't take the team seriously. We didn't prepare properly. But the team that was a special group, an historic team. And you don't just replace those people. Jim's contract situation and status hurt us in recruiting. We didn't get a big-time quarterback. The thing that what bothers me the most about our quarterback situation isn't that we didn't do the portal and all this other stuff because, Indiana got this guy and Washington got a guy and da-da-da. The 3 quarterbacks we've started this year are all completely different players. So it's like they didn't have a plan. Like, great example, yesterday, Jaden Daniels gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Super athletic. He's a really mobile guy. He throws a great ball. He's a good athlete. He's small. He's quick. He moves around. He gets hurt. They put in a guy who's like him in Marcus Mariota. They can run the same system. As flawed as he is, look who's backing up Josh Allen, a big, strong guy who runs around. Guess who it is? Don't kill your Bears fans. Mitch Trubisky. You got to have a guy who's like as close to your backup as humanly possible. Now, you're not going to find Lamar Jackson. You're not going to find Pat Mahomes. But you should be able to do some of the things within reason. Obviously, the way the Ravens play with Derrick Henry off tackle and heavy run and other things like that, you can do with just about anybody. And Pat Mahomes, I mean, honestly, Andy Reid could go pick out a shopping cart guy, Piggly Wiggly, and put him in a game and thinks he can coach him up enough. So, but that's the thing that really I look at from a scouting, looking at football perspective is the 3 quarterbacks are all completely different players. One of them is like a West Coast offense guy and Davis Warren. Then you have Alex Orji, who's JV Cam Newton, big, strong, power, physical guy. And then Jack is deep ball, big, strong guy, and throw corners and big power throw guys like Kerry Collins, and it's like what are they doing? And we've had problems. The quarterback coach got in trouble a couple years ago from the 21 team. Kirk Campbell was the quarterback coach the last 2 years, and he's now the OC. And Sharon's the O-line coach, and he's the head coach. And it's just there's too much going on, and it's just reflective in our team and our results. And the other thing that I don't think gets talked about enough is better quarterback play in our conference. With a lot of these teams, Michigan State kind of got a little bit of a reset before us with their scandal with their coach, and they went and hired a really good coach from Oregon State, Jonathan Smith. He brought his quarterback with him. Well, and also, Washington, Jed was going there, and the Mississippi State kid was going there anyway, so he kind of inherited him. And Dylan Gabriel's like doing his little tour, ended up at Oregon, and the Buckeyes got the Kansas State kid Howard, and he's kind of a different player than what they've normally had at quarterback, but he's more of a dual threat guy. So that's a big part of it is. But as far as Michigan goes, I think we're going to spend big on the portal. We'll attack things differently in offseason here. We'll be better prepared for things coming forward. I'm hearing good things with the portal money, and we'll go out and get some guys. We got to go get a veteran quarterback, and bring somebody in. And have him integrate with Jordan Davis, the big freshman who's on our team now and has been redshirted basically, and he's not going to play. But it's going to be a whole new team next year. People who thought this year would be rebuilt, no, next year. Because you got a couple of the guys left over from last year's team. They're still good players. The tight end, the number 2 running back, the 2 interior D linemen, and obviously the corner who's now hurt, and Rod Moore who tore up his ACL in training camp. So it's going to be a completely different team. But again, you look at teams like Indiana. They brought in all these portal guys, and they get a whole new team. And hey, maybe we can call up Arch Manning, somebody like that,
Yeah.
or you know, I mean, there's going to be guys. I mean, I heard Kim Ward was going to go to the Buckeyes, and he was getting almost $2 million, and he got more. So to not go to Ohio State. So because that's one thing that's interesting, that Ohio State has a dual threat guy, and that's not really what they do. Now with Chip Kelly there, it's different. But remember, Bill O'Brien was there originally, and then the BC thing happened, and Chip Kelly likes the mobile throw. Marcus Mariota, type of guy, and Michael Vick and other guys, that type of guy. But it's interesting to see. But I just people need to pump the brakes and calm down. If you want to throw Sharon and all these guys out, then good. Give back the last 3 years, the Natty, and making Ryan Day nuts. It's what's happened here, and it's the byproduct of winning. It's the same thing that's going on with the Patriots, except you have the incompetent fool who created the mess is still in charge. So, it's one of the things that somebody who does this for a living and understands it, like, I look at your Eagles with Mr. Laurie and Miss Howie Roseman. You think the Giants miss Saquon Barkley today, Mr. Angel?
Sure do. They sure
And
do.
I'm sure Mr. Mara didn't mention that to Mr. Sheen today.
Nope, not at all. It's
No,
funny
and
as much.
there's a video of him saying, if he goes to the Eagles, I'm not really going to like that. And then he comes in and puts about 190 on him.
Well, I mean, listen, they didn't believe.
Yeah, what you pay for, Angel. Always remember that.
Correct, because they didn't believe that Saquon still had it in him. They thought because he was injury prone that was going to be it. I mean, and you come back to call it a revenge game to me was kind of silly. There was no revenge in there.
He's
It's
friends
just
with Daniel
Saquon.
Jones and a lot of the Giants players now.
Yeah, but nothing to me. There was nothing said that there was a revenge game at all whatsoever in the Eagles. And for those who think that for some reason, listen, as hard as I am on the Eagles, the same exact way. This was just 1 week, like any given Sunday. Come next week, we'll see if they'll be able to do it again. And to take 14 minutes to score your first set of points against a team that's in rebuild mode, Eagles should not be that. Huh?
Here's the thing. Let me help you out here.
Sure.
The Giants' defense is good. They have good players. Their offense is a mess, and their offensive line, now that their left tackle is done for the year. I mean, you were hitting Daniel Jones 3 and 4 guys on every play. It was ridiculous. I mean, the ball he snapped and he'd be getting hit by 2-3 guys. I mean, I watched a little bit of that. And I listened to the Giants radio broadcast, Carl Banks and those guys. And, I mean, just go watch. The film is terrible. I mean, and that's one of the things with Daniel Jones. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's garbage. I think he's like a mid-level starter in the NFL. But he doesn't have any help, particularly when the O-line is a mess. And they addressed the O-line, but now their all-world left tackle's hurt. And they got the other high draft pick from a couple of years ago. They want to put him in the game, the Neal kid, who's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just Eagles had a get right game. I told you this again. AJ Brown and when Angel, AJ Brown, Goddard, and Smith are in the game. Completely different team. It makes Jalen's got those 3 guys. They're good, and it was cool. To see him go. But no, it was like a separation Sunday. The Chiefs, I think we can say goodbye to the 49ers. They're not a serious contender anymore. Yeah. They made a huge mistake paying Ayuk. I said it when they did it. They should have traded him. That's why they were drafting all these receivers. Now they paid the guy's leg fell off in the game yesterday, and he wasn't having a good year. Debo's old. They'll probably move off him in the offseason. And they might even move off Kittle. But they need to give Purdy some help. And they could have rebuilt their team and got a lot of picks for Ayuk. They paid him, and he's not. He's Alvin Harper. He's not Michael Irvin. You'll get that analysis there. But they screwed their team up. They're completely falling off. My Lions, looking good. I think the Buccaneers will show up for America tonight. They got a good team. I thought what the Redskins did, or Commanders, whatever the hell they call them, I don't care, the Washington team, that was really impressive. That their young quarterback went down and the backup came in. Now he's a veteran. Again, you get what you pay for. They got a good
Mhm.
veteran backup. He comes in, does a good job. And, and how about Mike Tomlin? I mocked him and thought he was being a moron because I like Fields. I don't like Russell Wilson. Mike Tomlin won, Beav, nothing. It worked. It worked out really well. I mean, and God Almighty, how the Aaron Rodgers experiment working out for the Jets, Angel?
It's just
I also got that one wrong, and Pete scolded me on it. It's going to kill me tomorrow.
he won't be on for the rest of the week. He's in the DR.
Oh,
Yeah. So today was his
oh,
last day. Yeah, he's on vacation for the
okay,
remainder
I
of the
got
week.
you.
Yep.
Okay,
So
I
he
got you.
won't be on. Yeah, he won't be on tomorrow. No, but
That's good
speaking
to
of
know. I was just going to call in and we'll have my own show, Angel, at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, 8:30. There you go.
uh, the only two that actually picked, and I threw it in as a bonus game last week, was you and I for Pittsburgh versus the Jets. Everybody else I picked the Jets, and
Angel, here's a good recipe for success.
yeah,
Bet against the Jets.
yeah, you have to. Well, because Aaron Rodgers, first of all,
They're taking money from the handicap. There really is. It's just it is in part. I mean, they've surrendered their organization to a guy who doesn't take football seriously.
right?
I mean, it's like it's a side hustle gig for him. Give
Well,
me
there's
Devontae
nothing.
Adams. I mean, do you mean what is Devontae Adams going to do to help them so much? I mean, what was he doing with the Raiders? I mean, it's just it's so stupid that this guy gets the power he does, and you know, he lost the home playoff game to Jimmy Garoppolo. That should exempt him from being in a power position with any NFL franchise. Losing a home playoff game to a subway model.
Yep.
I mean, it's just if you want to have a nice little segment, you get me to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. But the no, it's hilarious to watch the Jets. I mean, Angel, we've all seen NFL games where a team gives up 31 unanswered points, right?
Yep. Yeah. All
Imagine,
done.
imagine all of my. No, I'm obviously not a Jets fan, but all my friends like Joe Benigno, who are a Jets and Mets fan. What kind of night he had last night?
Mhm.
He did some nice rants on his pods this morning. If you didn't see that, so and yeah, it's pretty. That was not a fun night, and even the Giants, which is like one of my teams, but I know what the Giants are, um, but and the Eagles are a terrible matchup for them because you're a line of scrimmage team, and the Giants' weakness is their offensive line. So you get Jalen Carter and those guys to get their heads out of their asses and get going. They're going to kill that team, and that's what happened.
Yep. Yeah, you get Rodgers. What
I'm
Chris
higher on
Jones.
your team, by the way, than you are. I know Sirianni's a dope. You'll probably get your asses kicked in the playoffs with somebody like the Lions or the Bucks, like you did last year. Like
Yeah.
a coach, a man ball coach. That's why you lost to Coach Bowles last year. Coach Bowles, the man ball coach. None of this, pussyfoot and stuff that Sirianni does,
Yep.
and the soft serve and man ball guys. Even Shanahan, who I don't like a lot as a head coach. I think he's a glorified offensive coordinator. But they'll lose to Dan Campbell, even maybe Kevin O.C. I didn't get a good grasp for them yesterday because the Lions caught them in a lot of blitzes and things. And it was really interesting. One of the things about that game yesterday that I think gets lost in all this was the Ben Johnson versus Brian Flores. They'll both be major candidates for coaching jobs here coming up. They already kind of were last year. B. Flo's already been a head coach, and he got caught up in that mess in Miami, and with the Patriots with the phone call and Belichick confusing Brian Daboll and Brian Flores. If you believe that, I got some land to sell you on the West Bank, by the way. The No, it's just the way things work. But the matchup, the chess game of Ben Johnson versus Brian, and Brian with his blitzes, he caught him in one where Harrison Smith was coming, the big bomb pass to St. Brown down the seam, and it's interesting these matchups in the games. I mean, one of the big advantages the Giants had when they played the Patriots in '06 and '11 in the Super Bowl. I mean, oh yeah, no, yeah, '06. No, 07 and 11, excuse me. In the Super Bowl is when Belichick was a defense coordinator of the Patriots in 90. Tom Coughlin was the wide receiver coach for the Giants. So they would go against each other in practice every day. And when you're the play caller, as opposed to position coach, you have to show more things. Like Tom Coughlin's not calling plays; he's just observing, and he gets to see how Belichick thinks and what kind of coverages and stuff he does. Then of course he plays him in the Super Bowl, and he's got anecdotal information. If you know anything about coaches, people like Belichick and Coughlin remember everything.
Yeah.
And it was a huge advantage. And but thank Coach Coughlin for ruining my life. So that was not a fun night.
No, well,
But
in an ironic twist, you're talking about Coughlin. How about Dougie P saves himself at least for another week out there when he comes
well,
home?
you played the Patriots every week, you get a 5-year extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what a bad team. If you watched the Jaguars game, they ran like 3 plays the whole game.
Yeah.
Run left, run right, Trevor run around. I mean, the Patriots just looked like they went out and sampled the liquor out in London. I mean, no, again, we make light of this, but the Jaguars would do this trip all the time, and they've been out there. So I think that jet lag thing is a real deal. Um, you and I talk about this all the time, where there's athletes are uh, creatures of their habits,
Yep.
and how they get up at a certain time, they like games at a certain time. It's one of the things that's crazy now about the college games. You got noon, you got 3:30, you got 7, and now if you're a old Pac-12 Big Ten, you got games till midnight. So it's interesting to see how these guys adjust. And NFL Thursday night games, Sunday games, Sunday night games, Monday night games. So and the Patriots are terrible. They're going to have a hard time winning 2 or 3 games. And you're starting to wonder and seeing noise now about Jordan Mayo if he gets a second year. I mean, Belichick's going after him on Pat McAfee. So, so it's interesting to see, and what a mess the Patriots are. Doesn't even resemble the team that Tommy left. And this is more like the team that was there when I was in high school. Winning 1 or 2 games.
It makes you wonder, was it a rush to judgment to bring in Gerard Mayo? Listen, Robert Kraft said he wanted him, he believed in him, he said he was the right man for the position. But now you have, obviously,
I don't have a comment for this, but continue.
Yeah, but most of the talking heads out there in New England are saying that they want him gone. The fans seem like they want him gone. They're in love with Drake May still. Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much you can say. He's going to be your quarterback in the future. I know that, I mentioned on the broadcast yesterday about Jacoby Brissett, still in there hanging around, blah, 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 playing as the team factor. But
they're probably trading to a team so he can go be a backup.
To Jacoby?
Yes, I think they'll trade him at the deadline to a team who needs a veteran quarterback.
Well,
maybe like the Lions.
That wouldn't be bad. The one I was surprised about, and I mentioned this on my show this morning, and then ironically, which turned out to be the obviously the polar opposite, but I'm actually surprised that there's been zero talk about Tua, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere today, now it's that he's supposed to be at practice come Thursday. They're thinking about playing him in there. Yeah. Who in the right mind, Beef? Who signs off on that paperwork and says the next time he gets hit and he's a vegetable, hey, listen, it's not my handprint on that thing. There's no way.
Well, a couple things. Go back to the Patriots. And I'll talk about Tua here too. Just remember, Bob Kraft thought it was a great idea to hire Jordan Mayo. He also thought it was a good idea to keep Belichick after the Eagles' 2017 Super Bowl, where his 2 best players wanted Bill gone. And then he also thought it was a good idea to let Tom Brady leave and then keep Bill. Probably kept him 2 years too late. And that's why they are where they are. Now, as far as Tua goes, I heard stuff over the weekend. We had Rich Cimini on from the Jets. That was our first guest. By the way, who told us the Jets would get Devontae Adams. Remember that?
Sure did.
And Rich was right, so cheers to Rich. But I heard stuff from Scuttlebutt from different people about the Dolphins QB situation, and the Tua had been cleared. I think he was on the sideline this weekend. And if I remember correctly, I saw some stat. Didn't Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill have like 1 target the entire game?
Yeah.
And they were screwing around on the bench with McDaniel there. But no, I'm with you. They better pray to Jesus that Tua doesn't get hit, and he can't really defend himself, so he's gonna get hit.
Yeah.
Uh, he's got the bad hip going back to college. He's immobile. Their old line isn't very good. They like to throw deep balls, which means he has to hold the ball too long, and he's going to get hit. It's not going to end well. But hey, I mean, we've seen. I mean, Damar Hamlin had an interception yesterday. What a great story he is. He's really had a great season here because last year he was kind of a fringe guy and was benched and not playing and not dressing for some games. Obviously, the guy's come back from a heart attack for Christ's sakes. But it was impressive to see this. But no, I'm with you. The league has to be smart about this thing. And God forbid anything bad happens to this young man because he's a good kid. But I mean, he's got porridge for brains if he gets hit in the head again. I mean,
Right.
yeah. I've had all kinds of concussion problems. I know you're stunned to hear that, Angel, but I've one upside the melon one too many times. But no, there's side effects to it, and it's tough. But he wants to make his living. I'm sure there's legalities. He signed off on it. They all kind of do that, anyways, within reason. One of my agent's better clients got a knee operation when he was on his second NFL team, and when they were doing the knee operation, they left a cloth inside his knee. The
Jeez.
scrubbing. David Givens, the wide receiver. They ruined his career. They left the operating cloth in his post operation in his knee,
How do
and
you,
they didn't take it out and ruin his career.
how do you make such a dumb? Well, I mean, there's also been doctors too have lost their. I mean, they're not supposed to have anything
Well, I
on.
mean, there's other ones where they do the wrong leg. That's why they
Yeah.
mark the leg. I mean, that's one. And you know the story about Mr. Lee at the hospital.
Which way?
The Lees wait outside, and they're Mr. Lee, his family's outside waiting for him. We're looking for Mr. Lee's family to come over. Mr. Lee, hey, we had your husband had a Mrs. Lee, your husband had a great operation. We removed his gallbladder, and she starts crying. It was a liver operation.
Yep. Yeah. There's been so many. I mean, that's a
That
show
type of
within
stuff
itself.
happens more than you think. But the marking the leg one, and I've seen that. I've seen that with guys where they've done that, and usually, hey, the guy's like leg looks funny. Doesn't that tell you that's what we're getting operated on? And yeah, it's nuts. I don't know what to make of it, but yeah, it's pretty funny.
It is. Well, you've also had doctors too in the past where they've had, and again, you're not supposed to have jury watch or anything else. Supposedly, there's one doctor, his watch somehow or another made it into the person's body.
I heard this one too.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one.
they had to go back and basically,
That episode of House.
yep, yeah, it's just, it's insane. All right, as we get to wrapping up the show here tonight, doubleheader. I don't care for the second game. I think it's silly. Arizona and the Chargers. And
Okay, you know the TV setup though, because the Arizona game's on ESPN Plus,
right.
and I think you and Pete have that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I have it too to watch the Bruins, but yeah. So I mean, I think most people have ESPN Plus, or if you have NFL Plus, I have both. So you can watch it. But yeah, the Chargers Cardinals game. But no, I mean more football. God knows I don't have any fucking Mets games to watch anymore, Angel. But so you see, I knew you wanted me to say that. Stop laughing. It's not funny. Actually, it is kind of funny. But no, it is what it is. I mean, it's hey, never enough football. The stupid idiots from the Player Association allowed it, and it is what it is.
Unfortunately,
Good games too, though. The game should be pretty good.
yeah. No, just well, we'll see. But then obviously the bigger one, I think everybody's
Hey,
going
listen, Angel, we're all winning. The Jets aren't on.
to. Yeah,
That should be
exactly.
the Jets. By the way, that should be the reward to the NFL fans everywhere. The Jets are banned from primetime games. Look, get Cemeni some sleep. He can get good reports like he got on Devontae Adams.
Right.
No more night games. And the Patriots shouldn't be on television. You should have to pay to watch it.
Well, maybe they'll give him a free promotion to the end of the year. Who knows? I mean, at 1-6, I mean, that's pretty bad. Who knows? I
Oh no, if they win 3 games, I'm buying you dinner.
Okay.
They're not going to win 3 games.
And
And
I
we
mean, the
don't know what's
team,
going to happen with injuries. No, they're not. You're already starting to see it. They're getting guys arrested. There's things going on. That's never. This is like what it was when I was in high school. They're starting running back when I was in high school. Uh, Tried to kill himself and drove his car into a river. Angel, the river is 2 feet deep.
what the heck? What?
Tony Collins.
Oh, jeez.
Tony Collins drove his car into a river. The other one was Irving Fryer. Irving Fryer got knocked out in the middle of a game. Got dropped on his head. The old turf at the old Foxborough Stadium got knocked out. It was just like midway through the first half. Gets in his car and is driving down Route 1 back when cell phones, like car phones, were like huge phones in a car,
Mhm.
you know, in a box and everything. He's on his phone. He crashed his car into a telephone pole, and this is all over the news. This is before the internet. So literally, and about half an hour after he gets knocked out cold, he's driving on the road in his fancy car, and he crashes into a tree.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, those are the Tony Collins trying to kill himself, driving into the 2 feet river is an and I'm making light of mental illness, but just the way the team was, just a mess. And
Um,
Hartley Dykes and Irving Fryer, and Irving got his life together and was a good player for your Eagles, and I think he's a minister now,
mhm.
and with the Dolphins too. Amazing when you have Dan Marino throwing you the ball, you find God. Uh, Actually, God's throwing you the ball. But no, it was nuts. But so Hartley Dykes and Irving Fryer were at a bar in Rhode Island. This is when I was in high school again, and Hartley had knee injury and he was on crutches, and they started. These guys at the bar jumped Irving Fryer and were beating him up, and Hartley started fighting the guys with the crutch. I mean, the stuff that used to go on. If there was internet when the Patriots and when I was in high school, holy moly, the stuff used to go on. They would the Patriots wouldn't like you'd have a bonus. You're on the Patriots. You get a bonus, say $50,000 for stats, right? They wouldn't mail the checks. They would wait for you to call and complain or have your agent call. And one of my agent friends had a player, and he called, and Dick Steinberg, the GM, told him, "Oh, we don't send those out unless people call." This is the NFL. Just nuts, just crazy. The stuff that used to go on.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about the toilets when the stadium, the old stadium first opened. They had to flush all the toilets at once to check the water pressure. So they had people sitting in all the toilets around the stadium, and they would flush them at the same time. So I bought
Unbelievable.
season tickets. It was, I want to say, it was 10 games because this is back when they had 6 preseason games. I bought 10 tickets. You know how much my 10 game tickets, right? One season tickets for one. How much do you think my season tickets cost in like 1976? 10 games, Angel.
Seems like I got $100.
120. 120 bucks. Now that might get you into the game
Yeah, pretty much.
to
Pretty
watch
much.
this crap ass team. So it's
Unreal.
great. They're gonna bring Tom back again though.
Yeah, we'll see.
Tom
We'll
can
see.
play. So I mean Drake's not the problem, but it'd be at least interesting to have Tom back.
Yeah, it would be. But with that, it is a condensed version of the show tonight. So we will
There
be
you go.
ending the show this evening. And for those who don't know, which I've always called my brother for many, many years, in case you guys missed it during the morning shows, my good friend Chris Aslan lost his son today. Just a health battle for many, many years. And he has since then moved on and passed on. We wish the family our deepest condolences to make sure it's going to be a tough time. Chris absolutely loved Fisher. And at the very end, he called him the blind fish. So, Fisher, you'll always be loved by everyone. You will never be forgotten. And that kid never, ever, ever, ever complained about anything whatsoever. The only thing he complained about it was going to bed because he always wanted to play. If you guys ever knew him, so to the Haslam family, our condolences here from Sports Radio and from everyone. And for everyone else, we hope you enjoy your evening. I'll be back on Wednesday. Pete will be off for the remainder of the week. And then, yeah, we'll see you guys all on Wednesday morning. So have yourselves a great night, and don't forget, make good choices. All right, God bless you all.
Angel, sorry to you and your family and your friend there. Awful story.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate it.
I love you, buddy. Hang in there.
All right, love you too, Beav. Everybody else,
Yeah, see you
have
Wednesday.
yourselves a great night.